Yo, TikTok tribe, strap in. Today we are unpicking trauma, biases, parenting styles.
Then we go wild with bare minimum or extra game that will expose deep truth.
Drop your auto stakes in the comments. This episode's gonna set off sparks. Go! You're locked into TikTok, where we strip away membranes and go straight to the heart. I'm Malik.
And I'm Ibra. If you're fresh air, welcome. If you've been looping with us for a while, you know we're about to light it up.
Let's talk trauma bias, parenting flexes, men interacting too much or just being minimum. Our life experiences shape how we see the world. However, sometimes what helped you can hurt us. Let's talk how personal stories get scaled into cultural gospel. So Ibra, think about this. Just because your ex paid your rent, it doesn't mean men owe you rent forever. The idea here is we know that people have positive experiences and sometimes they also generalize those positive experiences, right? And just because your ex paid your rent, someone now says, well, my ex used to pay my rent. This means all men should pay my rent. I think on a more broader level, how does those positive experiences that are personal to people, how do they lead to unrealistic generalizations or entitlement?
It's a very interesting question. I feel like with men and women, right? Because I'm then also generalizing. But as a guy, okay, you know, like, okay, when you sort of hit one body on Instagram with like 10 million followers or whatever, and you be like, oh man, like, you know what? Yeah, I got down. But you can really separate that from knowing that this is not probably what I'm looking for in a relationship or like ideal requirement for me. But I feel like with women, a lot of women, because I'm then also generalizing, right? I think it definitely says this standard that might not be realistic for sure. And I think it's one of the big issues that is making dating difficult in 2025. I'll just make this example. I feel like I've seen women confuse people that are not really into them or men who just wants to smash with potential boyfriend material. You can get a type of guy that just wants to smash, but then you then decide to raise your standard to like, nah, if it's not on this level, I'm not even entertaining it. But trust me, you might have dealt with 10 people at that level, but none of them would ever take you seriously. At least 8 out of the 10 would not want anything more. But due to the hookup culture, you then start to believe that's the standard you want to go for, and every other guy is just in the trash then, and you're just gonna be single for a while.
I think that's a very interesting perspective, and I think what you're just saying is that sometimes very good positive experiences create standards that might be unrealistic, especially when you put it in the relationship context. For me, I would even bring it to a personal experience that I've had, for example, with work culture. You know, if you go on the internet today, there will be a lot of tricks and important facts that you need to know for a job and how to deal with this, how to deal with that. This happens. We have that on the internet. However, my initial experience with the work culture was so positive that I almost generalized that if you keep things simple, you don't need to do anything extra to navigate the work environment. That was my generalization, right? But that put me in a handicapped situation when the time came that some of the things that were in place for me to have that positive experience were no longer in place. But I didn't know that those things were in place for me to have those positive experience. I just thought in work, if you do your work and you lay your head low and you're nice to everyone, you're good. And I generalized that as the weak. And suddenly it hit me hard that there were actually more intentional things that you needed to do around networking and building allies within a workplace for things to work for you. And even though it's a positive experience, the generalization of that led to a negative outcome for me. And it's not to say that you shouldn't take positive experience seriously and say, you know, I've had that experience. I think it's more just understanding why those experiences are happening, what was in place for those things to happen, and turn it into a system if possible, as opposed to just generalizing that that's the way the things work. And I think this is important when we're talking about this personal experience thing and how we then generalize things. And so trust me, before I had the personal experience myself about workplace and how you need to build allies to get promotions and all that stuff, before I experienced it, I'd always known that there was a lot in play to get a promotion at work. But I still thought that 80% of what was in play would be what you did, right? Your performance. And this is crazy. We have a lot of TikTok videos that actually advises us. The performance review doesn't matter. If you would get far in a corporate environment, this is what you need to do. I've always watched those videos with, I get what you're saying, but I think you still need to do a great job, because that's what would matter the most.
I think the generalization there was like the issue. You would almost feel like, nah, it can't be like every time, right? There has to be an exception sort of idea, right?
Yes. And that's what I used to think. However, I've now had the other experience that somehow makes it a little bit clearer to me that I think what's happening is that I think every single time you need an ally in a room for promotion at some particular level, just doing a good job alone will never cut it. However, sometimes you have those allies without knowing it. Sometimes you have that visibility without doing it intentionally. I think this is the differentiation. So the lack of understanding that completed those positive experiences for me led to a wrong generalization at the time. So maybe there are some certain things that you can generalize to an extent, but I think it's the completeness of the experience and understanding why those experiences are happening that would lead to a more replicable generalization. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, I was thinking about something while you were also giving your example, right? It became obvious to me that I think humans generally, all of us, we don't always ask the question, why did it go so well? But if reverse was the case, right? If like you try to get something and it didn't go well, then we start analyzing and trying to really, that's when we actually do learn. When things go our way, we just believe we've done everything. Maybe our estimate is then wrong, but we'll justify like why maybe it's supposed to happen. And even when we don't, or even if we don't care about why we got it, right? Most people will just be like, oh, God did it, right? Even when it was not expected. So it would then be like really spiritual or whatever. So, and I think, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We don't dig deep enough when things go well. We don't try to learn enough from the good experiences, the good outcomes. We focus too much on learning from the bad things. Learn from it when it didn't work out. And to be honest, I've always been the kind of person to build a process around everything that I'm doing so that I can explain and transfer it to someone else. But I guess this story that I just shared shows me that I'm not even doing that enough, even though I think I do that way more than the average person. But I'm not doing that enough.
That's the point I was trying to make, right? Maybe let me rephrase, like, because I see why, right? It's like the goal is not really you want to know why it happened or how you can replicate that, right? But I don't think the incentive is that strong because he already worked out. It's like, okay,
it worked out, let's move on.
Then you can just do like a surface, maybe not even a surface, but when it didn't work out, then you might have to go deeper than the level that you thought you've analyzed things, and then really see maybe a hole that might just forfeit all your argument or why you think all the process worked or didn't work. So it's like two different. Yeah, that's why we learn more from like negative experiences than positive.
Exactly the point. I only found out about my incomplete generalization as well when it didn't work out for me in some moments, and then I had to really dig deep, like what can happen, what do we have to do. I spoke to people above me and they told me exactly what needed to be done, and I was flabbergasted, like, oh really, that's all I needed, but I only got that information because it didn't work out. But anyways, now think about this, Ibra. If the good stuff can mislead, right? Positive experiences can mislead. Now, what does the bad stuff do? Let's talk about that. People, as we see today, they usually bring trauma into conversations. And when they bring those traumas, suddenly every story is a red flag. So my question to you, Ibra, is I want to even make this more specific. How does trauma warp generalization in feminism and patriarchy?
This is the biggest question of 2025. Man. I mean, you know where I stand with this. I feel like it's not looking good. I've always made the statement that most feminists in 2025 are traumatized people. Before, it didn't used to be like that. I would argue in 2010, you would see the movement, you would see the people leading the movement, and you would be like, oh yeah, I'm on this, like, yeah, we all have to fight for this right for women to be, because, for a better life of everyone, right? But right now, when you see a lot of these feminists talking, all I hear is trauma, all I hear is hatred, anger. It's just obvious to me. Maybe, I don't know, maybe some people see it differently, but we still have a few ones. But it then makes the whole cause, the whole thing you are fighting for, to be in question. If you are coming from a traumatic experience to now spearhead like a movement like that. So it's not good,
Exactly.
just to make it sure. It's not good.
I agree with you, Ibra. I think it has impacted the whole topic on feminism and patriarchy. It has impacted it in such a way that it almost want to destroy the whole movement. And now you have this clear separation of feminists, and then you say, oh, you have the beta feminists, you have those feminists, or you have the Nigerian feminists, you have those feminists, or you have the American feminists, you have those feminists. And I think to make it more concrete, I even have examples. I give one example. Today I was scrolling through Twitter, and all these posts like this Jacking genuine. I think there was this post on Twitter that was like it was like a South African word, and people would then comment stories that are super unique to them and all that stuff that they've heard.
Ah,
There
nah,
was
I
a
haven't
story
seen.
of, oh, what is that one hill that you would die on? And this guy said, even if my daughter comes
Mm.
to me and tells me that she was sexually assaulted, I will investigate before acting. And his reasoning behind that was because when he was 14 years old, one girl accused him and his brothers, three of them, of raping her. The girl's dad was a police officer. Thankfully, he wasn't at home that day. Then he came back at night, and the guy was basically saying if he was at home that day, he could have picked up a
Mm.
gun and shot them dead. But then they found out that a neighbor caught that girl sleep at 14, caught that girl sleeping with another person that she liked. The person ran away, and the neighbor now said, "What are you doing?" Blah blah. And she lied that it was this other neighbor boys that was raping her to protect the guy that she liked. Now, this truth came out within that day and nothing happened. Now, that's not what's most crazy about it. I went into the comment section and I saw a lady say, wow, imagine the daughter seeing that our father will not believe her if she claims that she has been raped because of one experience or the other. And in that instance, I immediately saw two traumatic experiences
Yeah.
leading to conclusions that are different. I'll start with different. And I'm thinking, well, trauma influences our decisions. Yes, we cannot run away from that. But what type of conclusions and generalization are we bringing away from that? Women look at their traumatic experience when they're sexually assaulted and think every lady must be believed. This is the starting point. And men look at their own experience of being lied against and think everything must be investigated. Not that you shouldn't believe the woman, but it cannot just be a given.
Yeah.
Now, logically, when a crime has been committed, what should be done?
To investigate, right?
Logically. So, for
Yeah.
women out of their own trauma to arrive at the conclusion of any investigation, the guy is guilty, that's one of the generalization problem. I'll come to another one. I was listening to the podcast by Steve Bartlett. What's his name? What's the name of the podcast again?
Diary of a CEO.
Diary of a CEO. And
Hmm.
they had this episode with three ladies talking about feminism and stuff like that. The one that was supporting the liberal standpoint basically said, what gives her the right and the authority to be able to speak on the topic of feminism and sexual freedom in women is because she believes she's a time traveler. I think it was Deborah or something. She owns a podcast herself. What allows her to be a time traveler is because she grew up in a
In the cult.
something like a cult. And based on my experience there, She believes that that was the experience of all women in the 1950s. Another generalization that I felt was very extreme because even if it's the experience of some women, for sure not all women, because
Mm-hmm.
different countries, different experience, different rules, different power structures, different races, different wealth classes. For sure not the experience of all women. But she's holding that stance. And now she's bringing, with that stance, she's teaching young women how to navigate the world based off our trauma experience. I'm not in any way trying to undermine our trauma. I think when you experience those things, it becomes a part of you and it's something to be considered for sure. But it's again the type of example that I gave with the Twitter bit. What kind of conclusion do you come to with that? And this is where I found very funny in one of Deborah's statements. One of the other women that was a little bit conservative about sexual experimentations and all that stuff,
Mm.
one of the things she talked about was she used the word, I think we need a little bit more rules. It's not to take away the freedom, but a little bit of more rules and guidelines so that we also start to get some societal benefits in the new world, especially when it comes to raising kids. And Deborah, in everything she heard, rules, because of her experience, the word rules is such a big deal for her.
Is a trigger. Yeah.
It's a trigger word. So she took that and said, when you say rules, it makes me feel some
She
type
said it
of way.
several times actually because I also watched it. I listened to the episode. Yeah. She was triggered several. Like, yeah.
Severally, when you say rules, it makes me feel some type of way. We are in dangerous waters. But I went into the dictionary again to think, do I not understand what rules mean
What rules
anymore?
mean?
Well, what do you mean
Yeah.
dangerous waters? When
Yeah.
community have to come together to function as one, you must have guidelines or rules, whatever you want to call it. So, how is rules suddenly dangerous waters? And that's again another example of how trauma shapes those discussions. And it's not just in feminism, it's also for patriarchy. Even the word patriarchy as a trigger and how it has been used in certain experiences for some people has become a trauma trigger. And then now they're trying to change the definition meaning because of the experiences they have tied to patriarchy. Patriarchy
Yeah.
basically mean a world that was set up and controlled by men or male figures. But
Mm-hmm.
suddenly now, they say all of us experience patriarchy. Yes, we are all in a patriarchal world because of the world has been built. But when they say, oh, that is a problem caused by the patriarchy, it's a problem that is saying that's a problem caused by a male dominated world, right? And I think that's reasonable to understand. I saw an Instagram post recently where a
Let me answer
judge
the question.
was
Ask the
screaming at a
questions, all
very
right?
old
You're
lawyer
finding yourself very close to
that
contempt.
couldn't make it to
I'm
the
sorry.
court at 8 a.m. Now, that video that you see, there's a comment under that video. And the comment basically said, oh, this is what you get when a man holds a position of power because of patriarchy. Well, everyone under the comment goes, oh, you mean when a person? And then she goes, I mean a man. And then someone wanted to change the word that the moment that she added patriarchy to it, it already means people. Patriarchy somehow now replaces the word people. That removes the gender angle to it and it just implies people. And I'm like, my goodness, what's going on? I don't understand this anymore. I'm getting lost because of this trauma redefinition of words. Traumatic triggers that words have for some people that leads to changing the definition, changing how it's used. It's feminism, it's patriarchy. These generalizations surrounding it based off of traumatic experiences that people have, very valid traumatic experiences, it's getting confusing for me. And that's the word that I will use. I know you concluded that it's bad. For me, it's much more than bad. It's even confusing. I'm lost.
Yeah, maybe it's just part of the normal evolution of humans as a race. I feel like talking about words that like sort of lost meaning, and we can go on and on to mention like a lot of those sort of words. Like it's also talking about masculinity these days. I think everyone would already think negative when you just say masculinity, or
Absolutely.
how the word like what's like Negro became then offensive. We just met black in like Spanish. I think. Then now you can't say that anymore. Now we move to like black people, now to like maybe nah, especially in the US now they're like nah, I'm an African American. Some people say I'm not. So I feel like maybe it's just the natural order of things with that when it comes to like naming and labeling stuff. But just going back to the trauma WAP thing that we are talking about, yeah, I just wanted to also add this example of this lady that I knew back then in Munich. It was very fascinating to see that. I think I forgot what the effect is called. Maybe red something effect, like this effect where something you're focusing on gets really exaggerated. Not because it's not true, but then you are able to filter it out. It's like, is it red car effect or something that if you think about red car before leaving home on your way to work, you
Yeah,
would then see
you see
like
it
every
everywhere.
car to be red. But it's not entirely true. But if we have trauma, I think
Yes.
that's what it would do to someone. She was always talking about how German white men are quite racist and this and that. And she has closed herself up. She's living in Germany, working in Germany in a predominantly white dominated company and country and all. And it's always about what they are doing to her. I just wanted to point it out that me listening to her talk about these things, it doesn't seem like they are not happening. It just felt like she has really filtered to
See it
really maybe
everywhere.
now putting herself in many situations like that because she's wired to be seeing it everywhere. I don't know how that works
Yeah.
psychologically, but I think
Yeah.
it does something to someone also when you then have to figure it life out through that lens, and it's just this rabbit hole thing that you just keep going, getting narrower, and I'm not sure, yeah, what that implication means, you know.
Absolutely. I think we talked about it as well. I think when we're talking about the experience of Black American people, and we say, well, even though there's so many opportunities in the US, if you have been stepped on and pressed down so much, at some point you start to see yourself like that. You start to even intentionally now be defiant towards the system, no matter how good the system is or bad, or whatever. It doesn't matter anymore because you cannot just work with it. You cannot believe it anymore. And these are the dangers that comes with these generalizations, right? These are the dangers that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, Ibra, I want to make it even more personal for you. Now, we know that trauma is loud. It's such a big issue. But how does it play out in real connections, right? So think about the people that you personally have dated. Where have you seen like, oh, I dated you and now I know the whole gender? Or do you? Like, how have the hurts that you have experienced in relationship shaped how you talk about men and women?
I mean, like, I'm very guilty of that. I would just acknowledge that before I even make any statement. Like, I feel like for sure, it's also one of the biggest issues like that we are going through right now. Because when you say something and you be like women, and you say something, you say men, it can be triggering for either gender. It's like, why would you just assume all women are this or are that? But realistically, you deduce stuff, you make conclusions from experiences, from sometimes trauma. You would have to ask yourself. Yeah, I mean, there's this particular incident that I was talking to someone, and this person was asking me. I was talking about like a traumatic event in a previous relationship, and she then was asking me that why am I still making decisions based on that knowledge that this was a different person, right? This happened many years back. Like, why am I transferring that emotion and experience to my current life? And I remember, like, my question was so precise. I still remember it till date. And I asked, what kind of person am I if I don't do that? Like, I meant, what kind of person am I if I don't learn or if I don't pick things from that? So, what do we then call experience? What do we call learning? What do we call growth? If you just trash everything. I know a lot of therapists would argue, like, yeah, you just have to, but then they then need to let us know what.
I can try to answer. And I think this is also back again to the point of we know that traumatic experience and positive experiences
Mhm.
exist, but
Yeah.
we can easily arrive at different conclusions on how we want to use them. Someone said,
Yeah.
but they can lie, so we always have to investigate. And someone goes, so we never we always believe the women and the men are to be. It's traumatic experiences on the same topic leading to very different conclusions. And I think that's the thing, which would have led to my own exact answer to this point as well of, do we truly engage with every new person on a clean slate, which
No.
is what we're supposed to promise? Exactly.
Yeah.
We don't. And it it makes sense that we don't, because,
Yeah.
well, what is then the use of experience? I think the point is, how do you use this experience? Are you directly using it and directly linking it as if they're exactly the same people because women are women? Or are you just saying, when I see the signs, now I will know?
Exactly. For me, it's mostly is about the patterns that I've now been able to see clearly, that before now I might get confused when I see some sort of behavior, when I see some sort of actions towards me. But then it becomes clear. I don't immediately transfer that. I'm not even looking out for that because it's against my own goal and what I'm trying to achieve when I'm dating, right? Because the goal is
Correct.
to find someone that you don't see these things, right? But I'm not actually actively looking out for them. But then when the pattern stares at you now, you see it. You can't unsee it. That's what like
Yep.
the trauma or the experience has done to you. And 9 out of
Yep.
10 times, I'm almost always right. I think maybe the bit now where for me I might feel like, okay, maybe is that when I'm not even sure, sometimes you can't really tell unless you want to invest time and see where it leads and probably get hurt. I usually then still decide that, you know what, I'm not going to play myself. I don't have the luxury to do that right now. Maybe that might be considered bad, but I'm not going to wait. Yeah, what's the phrase now? Around and find out. I'm not going to fuck
Find
around
out.
and find
Yeah.
out. So like, yeah, there is for sure a generalization in like men women conversation. Yeah.
I fully agree with you. I think that's the one thing that for me, maybe I won't wait to around and find out, but I will be a little bit more communicative. This is how I try to solve it from my own perspective, to say, we know that those experiences would impact how we see the next opportunity to experience those
Oh, for
things.
sure. Yeah.
And then for me, the way I would recommend, at least the way I do get ahead of it, is to be a little bit more communicative. So, for example, I'm seeing the signs. I'm not waiting until it then materializes into something that I don't like. I'm looking at those signs and I'm immediately saying, hey, I'm seeing this. I'm not saying this is exactly what you're trying to do, but I've seen it many times before. It usually leads to this and this. Not everyone is mature enough to now hear that and not say, oh, you're insecure. Oh, no, I'm different from that person. And I guess this is where framing and things might come into play. There is tact required, I think. But I fully agree with you. We transfer a lot of negative and positive experiences, and we
Yeah.
literally just say it's experience. Now I've learned, now I grow. And but then when we also then talk about women, we tend to generalize, because I don't think generalization is completely impossible. It won't be 100% accurate, but it's not completely impossible to be close to describing a gender based on one thing or the other, right? I think it's how we use those generalizations that matter.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that. You were talking about going about it by sort of communicating. That's a very it's a landmine, because you have to be really careful, because what then happens is whether you communicate it, I don't know how you want to, but you would be labeled already of transferring trauma. It's like
Give me a scenario, and then I will show you how I would try to navigate that.
if you want to like talk about maybe accountability, for example, like you're dating someone, then you're thinking about having to let them understand that, not like to know where they are every time, but you like to sort of have an idea of their whereabouts in terms of, oh, I sort of know what your timeline looks like, right? I think that would be fair. It's not like I want to know you are like in Reve or like Audi right now or whatever, but like, oh yeah, I just don't want to have this idea of like a day, 2 days, I don't know what is going on with you. How do you then communicate that? Because in the past, you've seen patterns that when that is happening, something fishy is maybe sometimes going on. And
Thank you. In the spirit of consistency, there are a few things that we've discussed on the pod before that I would like to reiterate before I answer. It's
yeah,
that if I suspect and have a feeling that my girl is cheating, I'm not looking for proof. I'm acting, right? I'll put the fish on the table immediately. We'll discuss that, and potentially I might leave depending on whatever conversation, how the conversation turns out. So yes, the way I would deal with wanting to know where my babe is, not exactly down to the letter, but just trying to understand how our day is going,
Yeah.
is simply, what are you up to today? Now, if I ask my babe, what are you up to today? And she's now hiding what's happening, I would just do a few things here and there. I would just go directly like, "Well, what are those things? Why don't you want me to know?" Because if you can justify hiding the activities that you're going through in a day from me, if you can justify that, I swear to God, if anyone can justify that to me, that I'm in a relationship with this person, but I don't want you to know what I'm up to, if anyone can justify that to me, I swear to God, I will shut up. Now, this is the point. If you can't justify it and you still insist not telling me, let's role play it. Babe, so what are you up to today?
I really don't know. I might go see a friend right now. I don't know how long I'll be there for, but yeah, I think that's about that. I'm just going to see Ruby
Sounds
today.
good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And what are you and Ruby going to do? I mean, it sounds fun.
We could go to, I don't know, get some drinks, get some coffee, but yeah, we haven't really planned out anything. Yeah.
Sounds good. Enjoy your day. Let me know how it's going. I'll check up on you as it goes. I'm actually fine with that explanation. What I want to know more, you say you're going to Ruby and you might get some drink, you might go to a cafe afterwards. Come, that's a full day.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's perfect response to me. But you see how it's so difficult not to answer the where, what are you up to? Now I think maybe you're saying, what if she's lying? I don't know if that's what you're trying to say.
I mean, maybe that wasn't the best explanation of the role play, but like sometimes, I mean, this is like out of no context, right? So when you put things in context, it then makes a little bit difference, right? So knowing the person, knowing some other things that has happened before, that had happened before, then that might
Thank
then
you.
have a different meaning.
I absolutely agree with you. And thank you, my brother. This is exactly why I caveated my answer with, remember, if I have a feeling that many things that I might feel because of trauma, because of past experiences that my girl is doing with me or doing for me, and many of those things we can conversate through it. But if I have a feeling that my girl is cheating on me and then hiding, being dishonest about what she's doing and other stuff, I don't need a private investigator. I don't need too much dig deep in. Yeah, I don't. I would
And
simply
that was
look
the
at her and
exact
be
point
like,
I was making that I said I would do also. It's like sometimes I just don't want to. That's the not around to find out.
yeah, that's not trauma response. That's logic. Babe, you told me you would be at Ruby. Ruby lives on the south side. I was driving through the west side. I saw you there. But I literally texted you 5 minutes before I saw you. And you said, Ruby and I are just hanging around her place. It's not an unreasonable question to say, what are you doing on the west side? And now, if you can't tell me anything reasonable, I can only assume that you're doing something that you don't want me to know. And if you're doing something that you don't want me to know, maybe I'm not the guy for you. Because why? Why are we hiding from each other? But I don't think that's trauma response.
Yeah, I mean, I also, I mean, no one can convince me otherwise, right? But yeah, I just know like
Absolutely.
different people how they think about these things. That's why I bring a lot of therapists, because I know how a lot of them would think in these sort of examples or situations, right? So like what I wanted to point out
Absolutely.
about communicating the whole reasoning you have, if you have some sort of worry about something like okay, this is what I think is going on and this is what I would like us to be at, or this is where I would like us to be, is that two things could happen. One is that you might then immediately get accused of, oh, he's trying to control me, which happens a lot. He's too toxic,
Absolutely.
he's narcissistic, he's like, all these words will come at you, right? But that's not even the bit. That's like fine. Like, but the second bit is then you give room, and this is from personal experience actually. Then when you address things where you don't really make up your mind, it's like, like I'm just trying to let you picture the difference between, you know what, I see this, I see this, I see this, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm out. As to the communication bit, then you are giving room for manipulation. is then when you talk about this and you just have like a vague idea, and let's assume it's actually true, then you are really putting yourself out there to let the person know, like, oh, I'm onto you and I would like to fix things open-heartedly, right? You are just being genuine. And that's like another room for where you can then be played, if that makes sense, what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. But I'll argue that every time we decide that that's the woman I want to be with or that's the man I want to be with, we all run the risk of getting played. Every
Sure,
single time we
for
make
sure,
that decision.
for sure.
And every single time we remain in a relationship, that risk is still there. So the only way you get away from that risk is to not be in a
Yeah,
relationship. And I think it's then now to remain objective and logical in dissecting whatever answer and responses you're getting. But this is actually
fair.
very good. So now we know that on a personal level, these biases exist and it really impacts us. Now let's talk about when this bias jumps from our personal DMs into the mainstream media. So, Ibra, think about this. When we look at public officials like presidents, firefighters, police officers, we don't want them emotional, right? They
Mm-hmm.
have all their personal experiences, but we don't want them to bring those personal experiences into public engagement, into delivering their public duties, because societal benefit has to remain the goal, and to deliver that appropriately, objectivity is required. But we let trauma drive debates on relationships and sex. Why is emotional baggage acceptable in sex talk, but it's not in leadership?
Hmm. My brother, let me first take a step back. Because the whole question,
Yeah.
yeah, I would definitely argue that they will, yeah, people would definitely come for you that it's a patriarchal structured question. Because for sure, if there is one statement, if there is
I'm
one line that I would
dying,
like to
man.
use to differentiate how men and women see the world, is that men would argue with what you just said in terms of we want logic and rationality to be the forefront of how we make decisions. And a matriarchal world is a world that would be run by emotion, for sure. But that would be run by, oh, that's how I feel. That's why you see a lot of liberal like me.
Let's see which one of us is getting cancelled now. Right?
Oh yeah, I wanted to explain that. So that's why you
Yeah,
see a lot of identity politics now, a lot of race, like all these things, like the Democrat Party is a big example of that, like, right? So it's like every of their agenda, every of their main topics that they wanted to do was about how it was feeling based, it was people based, it was emotion based. And Republicans, like Trump, was just talking about money, business, and decisions to end
Mm.
war, to do this and all. And that in itself, I think, yeah, it's just like one of the big issues that we have in 2025, because I think both genders, we see that differently. And I'm just trying to say, like, women would definitely argue that, nah, we want feelings to be the deciding factor for making decision, and that's why a lot of feminists are also the most emotional ones, that they are not really. You see, like the DOAC like episode that we're talking about on yeah, for Deborah. No, see that other lady, she was so based. I think she's a therapist or psychologist or something like that. She was so
Yeah.
based, she was like logical, and everything she said, almost everything was so like sensible to me, that I felt like, yeah, this is it, right? But Deborah
I
would
want to say sensible. Because you
Deborah
said
would come
sensible,
over.
sensible to you, and I'm like, fine, because exactly it probably fits the kind of direction that you're thinking about it as well.
Exactly. Like rules, structure, these are mostly masculine traits, man. Like in fact, when you look at the home, like dad and a mom would also like see their kids raising kids differently. They have different things they want to teach the kid, right? I think most men would just
Oh.
instill discipline, structure, and all these things, while the woman would naturally just
Do you know why
nurture
I'm
and
doing
just
this?
what?
Why I'm doing ha ha ha? Because a lot of women today will hear what you said now and think, no, women can be structured and guided too. And this is the thing.
There are
Deborah probably
outliers
doesn't
here for
want it.
sure, but not the
Exactly. That's
majority.
what I don't even. I would even argue that. So Deborah doesn't want it, but the other person that was actually advocating for it, the other two people, they were both women as well, and they were advocating for a bit more structure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um.
And they stated this
So
severally also on the episode that we know there are women who would act differently like that. They are the outliers, right? But in this case, we have to generalize and we have to sort of make a decision with that, right? Because we are billions of people, right? So eh, we can't just base decision on outliers then.
yes, I agree with you. And this is the point that I'm thinking. Maybe the balance, because you yourself have also told me that logic only won't be able to work, especially when we're dealing with humans.
For sure.
And
For
maybe
sure.
that's the point, that we need balance. And that's why representation, having both men and women doing it together, is really the perfect structure.
Yeah.
And now we have this world where we are choosing this side as if we're not just a human race, where we are all supposed to work together to build the society for the future. And now it's either it's a matriarchal or a patriarchal. Why can't it be an humanical or whatever? What's the word for? Like,
Yeah, right.
what are
Yeah.
we doing? You know? Because how do we actually differentiate between when to listen and understand all sides, and when we're just projecting our own experience? Because I do feel that there is a balance in there that we are not
Yeah.
seeing yet, but it's absolutely required. Some emotions and some logic. Because those experiences are realistic as well. Let's take an example. When you even look at a presidential election, which president do you prefer? The one that comes in, let's say, a Nigerian election. I'm a president on their campaigning. I'll give you two presidential campaigns, and you tell me which one you're voting for. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all today. Um, I've lived about 40 years of my life in the UK, and the UK system works super well, and I just feel like shit don't work here. So I want to bring those things that really work for British people. I want to bring it down here to Nigeria for us, and make Nigeria great again.
We'll
I'm the guy that
continue.
goes, um, hello everybody. Yeah, Jemmy. Back when we were at Orile with Wale Ojo, we
Yeah.
suffered.
Yeah.
The situation of this country has killed my brother and my father. I'm an orphan because of it. And today it must end. We're not going to keep watching and let these people do this to us. Who do you vote for?
Of course, the second person. I wanted to even say, like, oh, Benny, with all this, you're in it, man. The British guy is not working for them. Come on, yeah.
Exactly. And this is the point where those experiences we cannot throw away. It creates
Yeah.
relatability. It makes us more
Yeah.
human. It's everything that makes us. But the balance and the conclusion and the when we listen, when we project, that it's a very tactical thing to do, but
Yeah.
that's what's required. To wrap it up, Ibra, I think we've done that a little bit, but I want to hear it from you as well. Are we building culture or just recycling personal pain at scale? Where should we draw the line between healing and project?
Very good question. I feel like we're at the point where we are just recycling pain, man. And I will still go back to reference therapy and therapist. I feel like it's one of the big ones for me where I've seen a lot of people turn it into a personality trait. People put it on their dating profile. People reject you for saying, "Oh, yeah, that was a thing, and I figured it out." There's this popular statement where a lot of women are using online now. It's that men would do anything but go to therapy. That, yeah, fair enough, right? But I don't think we are at the point where people need more therapy because it doesn't seem to be working, in my opinion. We do need therapy and therapists, but there has to be a line. You can't be in therapy for 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe yeah, that's out of context, right? I don't know whatever you are in therapy for, but I've seen peculiar or very particular situations where people just keep going, and I just feel like you just need to do this work. talking about it doesn't change nothing. It's like you have a lot of work for you to be done on things, but you have to do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like we're definitely recycling a lot of pain and trauma at this point where we don't really want to do a lot of work that is required to fix things, but
To
feel
heal and
empathy
actually,
or
yeah.
some sort of pity party or something like that.
And because you talked about therapy, Ibra, I want to make the point of people also misunderstand completely that therapy is not medical science, right? I don't want to say philosophy. It's a bit of psychology, it's social, it's philosophy, it's here.
Yeah.
But a lot of people would go into therapy and take the word of their therapist as Bible. They take it
Yeah.
as medical diagnosis. And this
Yeah.
is really something where every therapy session should start with. I would like to remind you, I am not a medical doctor. I'd like to remind you what I say here today is really only peculiar and personal to you. It's not for you now to go say, I told my therapy that I like to in bed and they told me it's childhood trauma. You like to bed as well. It must be childhood trauma. No, maybe that person just liked us as a sexual kink. It's
There's a
completely different.
fetish. Yeah, right.
It's a fetish.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is something that's it's key to understand that you cannot just transfer your diet, your therapy conversations and make it and generalize it. Now, curious to see what everyone else thinks. Are we building culture or just recycling personal pain at scale? Drop it in the section. Ibra, to the next topic. Now, we're going into the world of parenting. We know that parenting is not a one size fits all, but it's something that's in today's world. I'm curious. Let's talk a little bit about parents that are champion builders or confidence boosters. Are you building champions or children that are afraid of losing? So you're in a competitive game with your child or a competitive activity. Should you let your kid win to build their confidence, or should you push them to actually get better?
That's an interesting question for sure. And I'll just only answer for myself. I don't think we can fully know. That's what I think. What the
Awesome.
right or the wrong one is. I'll also just share this situation that I was in, like with a family friend. It's like a niece to me or like a nephew, right? So we're playing like console PS4, like we're playing FIFA, right? And I know myself. Uh, so let me just first answer your question. Yes, I'm that like dad that would definitely smash you. I will win 10 out of 10 races. I would definitely do all those to let you know that that's what you get in the real world, right? So I
Mm.
was like playing with this nephew. I was just chilled. I wasn't going to lose, but I didn't want to smash him, right? It's like, okay, let me just win. Let me just give him some hope. You know that kind of play that you give someone like, you're not that bad, but
Oh,
you
you
know for
scored as
sure,
well. Yeah.
yeah, that you
Yeah.
could do worse
Yeah.
damage. But I was just playing it cool. Then he just started bragging that, you see, that his dad already he was bragging before I arrived that I was this, FIFA guy that I'm not even that good, that I should give him my all, right? Then I'm like, okay. Then the next game, I trashed him. I forgot like the scoreline, but I know it was like in the double figures, like maybe 11 something or whatever. And he started crying so bad. I mean, that's one thing I like the boy, right? He's like so competitive. And he was weeping so hard that everyone had to gather around his mom, his dad, everyone were begging him, like, and his dad was like, that be Agbaya. You know what Agbaya means? Like that I should have taken it easy on this boy, blah blah. And I said he asked for it. For me, for sure, I'm definitely leaning towards you are not getting a cheap win because the world is not
Yeah.
gonna give you that.
Yeah, I fully agree with you that it's the balance of knowing the exact lessons that you can directly transfer to the world and say that's because that's how the world will see you. That's because
Yeah.
that's how the world will treat you. So you have to keep that in mind. And when we talk about it, I want to say in a more general note, I've seen it a lot when Americans and the British people they talk about, oh, when you see Nigerians, when Nigerians come here, they're this, they're that, they push this far, they push this far. And I want to make a joke that this is simply because every time you literally go to school and come back with a report card, you are competing, whether you like it or not, against your dad and your mom. Because the response they'll give you is, you
Yeah.
came second? when I was your age, I was always first. So that you know. Like I was smashing it at your age. Second.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a more general note. And then you see that as an African kid, as a Nigerian kid, you are really pushing to not just be good, but to be the best. Because that's all you know
Yeah.
how to be. And that sort of readies you for this very competitive world that we have. Bro, I'll tell you my own personal experience as a kid. I've always been one of the best in every single that I did. And I remember my dad is always just like, oh, what did you finish out in school? I came first. Okay. I knew my dad was fire, right? It was the best in his class. It was everything. My mom would talk about him like a superhero because they went to the same schools by growing up. But it would just be like, okay, bro, I finished university as the best graduating student in my department. My dad wasn't, he wasn't able to come to my convocation ceremony because he was on holiday in the US. And I called him. I finished best graduating student. All right. Okay. Congratulations. Good one. There were other.
It's like
It's crazy.
expected, not even
Exactly. It's a given. There were other things where my dad thought, this is you facing life. That's actually a difficult thing. And I told him I got what I needed to get out of those things. And I saw tears in his eyes, tears of pride. Yeah. So it's not like he's not an emotional person that wouldn't show it. He's not. Yeah, he's happy to show his emotions. He's happy to show you that he's super happy. But there were just standards of, for that one, nah, it's how it should be. And this is a balance, that he also found moments where he was really emotional about it. So that just moment where it's like, let him have the trophy. That's what it means to the child in this moment, or is not mature enough to learn that lesson yet about how difficult the world is. So let's give him a trophy in this one. 5 years later, I will trash him on that particular one. But this one, he's mature enough to learn this particular lesson. So yeah, we are competing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my point is, it's a balance, and I think that's also what you were saying, because you said that, of course, it's for different kids.
No, I said I would definitely lean on the trashing side, but for sure, that's why I also said like it's personal. So the balance would then be the weigher. But how do we know if we are balancing it? Only time will tell.
Only time will tell. And there's also another argument that it seems like, which is going to the next thing that I wanted to ask you, that it seems like today there's actually a trophy trend that we have to unpack, right? It's much more common that, oh, let him have that, let him have that. And it seems like kids today are actually growing up to be entitled. And my question to you, Ibra, which will bring it to this balance that you talked about, is, as modern parenting become too soft, which is everyone's a winner mindset? Because I think that's what we're seeing today.
Too soft is then what I can't really say. But I'll just go on a limb and say yes, I think it's soft.
Bro, I would say this. Capital yes.
I mean, I'm also thinking different regions, like
Even
in the US
even
for
even
sure.
in the West, bro. I'm talking to Sophie, and she's telling me about how even in Germany, like for her growing up, and what she sees because her parents are teachers, what they see with the kids today, already just a generation switch like that. It's a nightmare, even in Germany.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And it's because of this worry of, childhood trauma. Everyone somehow
Exactly the point.
experienced childhood trauma for
Exactly.
one reason or the other. I'm sorry, I have to be absolute about this one, because I'm not saying those traumas don't exist, but my mom yelled on me one night when I was hungry, and this is childhood trauma that haunts me forever. That's bull.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a capital yes. Yeah, but I'm getting animated. It is a capital yes for me, and I don't think it's different by location. I think, of course, there's a difference in how
The
much has
impact.
changed from
Yeah.
but I would say even Germany raising a child in the 90s to Germany raising a child in the 2000s to Germany raising a child in 2010, it just got softer and softer and softer. Same with Nigeria. So the trend is the same. I've not seen one country where it got harder. Maybe Dagestan.
Yeah.
Because maybe
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah, for
Dagestan,
sure.
because it seems like US is their main way out of that place. So send to Dagestan, 6 years, forget.
Maybe
So
South
yeah.
Korea also. I'm not sure. I don't know how it was back then, but I know. I mean, I watch some of their, maybe like a few celebrities from there, some actors and Son in Tottenham, the footballer, and they still have really this so discipline oriented, like especially in their boys, right? But I don't know how things were for them back then, so I wouldn't be able to say if it's
It's
softer
still
now
softer.
or if it's
The modern world is softer. Yeah.
I mean, in the US, I just wanted to also say that, like, for sure, yeah, that's like a capital yes that no one is even close. I feel like for an average white American child is super entitled, and it's not random. They were raised. That's like the old programming of raising an average white American, I would argue. Like from like preschool, high school, you already see they give. I don't think we still do this losing trophy thing in Nigeria. I'm not sure, but it's huge in the US. Participation medal, everyone deserves something, but the world doesn't work like that. And I think maybe it did work for a while in the US, but I would argue like right now, maybe we are already seeing adults that grew up with that kind of upbringing as the adults that we have now, and we already see that they are really struggling. I forgot this woman's name. She's also a popular she has a popular podcast in the US, and she was talking about how I think she's British or maybe half American, half British. Uh, Talking about how Americans need to just remove the chip off their shoulders and just be grounded, and the world doesn't revolve around them, and they are. But that's the whole point. Americans are raised to believe they are the like whether it's earned or just by you don't have to earn it. You just have to be an American to feel like that. And I get that. Nigerians have that too. But I think for us, we know we have to back it up. You
Yep.
don't feel a sort of
Yep.
way about being who you are unless you know inside of you that you've really done some work in whatever aspect or regarding whatever thing that you believe it in. But it can't just solely be on the fact that I'm an American.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. And I think it's this overcorrection thing, right? It's what we see with feminism, it's what we see with everything. I think the world needed to improve in the past. Yes.
Yeah.
But I think we took all the improvements required and we overcorrected without proper understanding and balance.
Yeah.
And I think the conversation that we have on this pod and what we've seen with other podcasts and other discussion forums is what will probably now bring us back gradually into a balance. And I say this into a balance because we are also not recommending that we now overcorrect again and go into what we used to have exactly before. But I think to create that balance, maybe that's why the resistance that we are all facing today is required. Let's see how it plays out. Time will tell. I want to give you a scenario. I want to see how you would react if the roles were reversed. So now you're playing your nephew and you were trashing him. You were happy. He was crying. Now your boss calls you, hey bro, let's play chess. Promotion period. Are you letting them win? Just to teach them a lesson. That if you're good, you're good.
Oh no. I mean, I think I'm definitely that aware to know that it goes both ways, right? For sure, there's no scenario that I see myself intentionally would be the word beat my boss. Because that's outright direct competition. And a very aware boss would be bothered by that. Like, I don't know, it depends. Let me just not conclude for every boss, right?
It depends on the
But
boss, right?
I'm not doing that. No, for sure.
I think this is the balance. What if it's the boss where if he catches that you made him win, that you let him win, you might be fired?
That's why I said intentional. So like I wouldn't, just intentionally do that, just like outrightly. But if he asks for it, if I know the kind of person he is, putting this in context, and I know for sure it would be pissed if he realizes that I didn't give him my best, and if he can really take the L, I would definitely compete with it. But I'm not going outrightly say no context, nothing, say we are just meeting and I feel like I want to trash him. I mean, I want to make him look good. He's still the boss at the end of the day. So
Boss
yeah.
money. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly the point. Yeah. Now that being said, Ibra, that's actually a good one. It's a good wrap up to it, right? Because it's a balance. Now you play another scenario, and the answer again is it's a balance. You have to see the context. You have to figure out when to win and when to not. But it seems like parents today are losing too much balance. Balance, people. And for everyone in the comment section, what would you do? Drop it in the comments. Ha. Now to the fun part. Ibra, let's play the Toxic Olympics. We're going to go now and play the bare minimum or doing too much game. We're gonna try
That
out
should be fun.
15. This year, I'm looking forward to it, bro. 15 outrageous relationship moves, and basically we both have to answer if this is bare minimum or doing way too much. You can give a bit of explanation if you need to, but it's that straightforward. Are you ready to go?
Yes, sir.
The first one is sending good morning text every single day.
If you're in a relationship,
Yes,
yeah, I would say bare minimum.
me too, man. I saw this one and I'm like, of course, bare minimum. How do you not send good
Yeah.
morning text to your babe?
For sure, yeah.
It's absolute bare minimum.
What
for
kind of
me, man.
relationship is that? I mean, if it was a
Yeah.
fling, why not?
Different
Yeah, we
story,
don't have to.
but
Yeah.
proper relationship. This is a bare minimum. The second one, buying flowers after every petty argument.
Nah, doing too much, bro.
Yeah, I agree with you, man, bro. Because why? You know why? Arguments are part of the relationships. We cannot now be compensating here and there with flowers
Nah.
and stuff. It's doing too much for me. I meant to, until we find the one where we disagree, bro.
We disagree about.
I'm doubting that we will, but I'm with you on this one.
Yeah.
The next one,
argue that one out.
leaving a $500 tip on a $50 restaurant bill.
Nah, doing too much, bro.
You're
You're pressuring everyone, man. Like, just calm down,
I
bro.
swear.
No, you have money. Don't put that
relax.
expectation on people, man. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, what if the waitress is a baddie and you're just like, for being so fine, I have to get. And then I remembered, dude, your girlfriend is in front of you. What the hell are you doing? $500 tip on a $50. You lose your relationship that day. Absolutely doing too much.
I think this goes back to the earlier conversation we had about good expectations now reinforcing and maybe wrong, right? Like, because for someone who gets that kind of tea, if you get like 10 people out of 50 tables you attended to, you start expecting stuff like that. And when you get like maybe a regular $50 tip, then you are pissed because humans, we are wired to expect things that we are getting used to.
That's
our
our one problem. This tipping one. I think we should have an entire episode about tipping culture in the US and discuss this, but not fun.
Yeah.
Number 4, showing up unannounced to surprise date.
There's no fourth option if I don't recommend. I would say doing too much. I'm sorry,
I'm
man.
with you, man. I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
If I have to pick between bare minimum, it's definitely not anywhere close to bare minimum. It's definitely doing too much.
Yeah.
The next one, you sharing your entire life on his Insta story. So basically, your girl shares her entire life on your Insta story.
What? Nah, that's toxic, man. Nah, doing too much.
Absolutely, man.
Why are we even doing that,
Absolutely.
bro?
Absolutely. Sharing each other's life on the Insta story is just, please stop it, man. Paying for your girl's flight to see you after DMing for 2 days. So you slid in a DM, you had a very long video call conversation, and you decided that, you know what, that's our first date. I want you already, and you get in a relationship. And then the next day you're planning to meet each other, paying for a flight to come see you.
Bro. For a fling, yeah,
No.
I'll do that. But for a relationship, man, nah, you have to put in some effort, man. I'm sorry, man. I think for me, that's doing too much.
Yeah, so for me, I won't put exactly as doing too much, but that's because we don't have this, it depends kind
Context.
of context, because it
Yeah.
could be that she's really broke and men don't
Yeah,
mind dating
yeah.
broke women. If it's just as it is between bare minimum and doing too much, obviously doing too much.
Just because it's bad, if we met like at a bar in real life and she somehow traveled out of state, then we plan to see again, for sure. But meeting her via like Instagram DM is why I have to act differently.
Yep. I see you, man. The next one is defending your girl in every group chat, even when she's wrong.
That's a tricky one, bro. I actually have a story for this one.
So it's complicated. It's complicated.
No, it's definitely not doing too much. I would say just right. Just because that's what feels like. That's like the middle ground. I wouldn't say every time. I would say just right.
I'll put it this way. When my girl is wrong, you won't hear pim from me.
That's the approach I would go.
If you have to defend, this is a scenario, because it's like, it's actually not defend. You have to defend even when she's wrong. Is it bare minimum or doing too much?
No, it's definitely still not doing too much because I still believe you still sort of have to have our best interest at heart. And I learned that like there was this incident with someone that was not dating in a relationship with, and we're having Christmas dinner with our best friend and our family, right? And we're just gisting, we're all drinking wine. It was a good, fun moment. The best friend was talking about our husband on some of the things that he would do that is funny, and they are not crazy stuff. We all laughed at like about the whole thing. And then the husband then retaliated by saying something that is embarrassing that his wife would do. And that was similar to what my then girlfriend would do as well. I was drunk. Don't judge me. Then I slipped. I was like, oh yeah, she would also do that. It's not something crazily embarrassing. It was just personal. And I think that made it even worse because it was something that she didn't tell me. She was telling me this in like confident, right? Like I don't have to share. I just thought, oh, okay, cool. Then that was like a situation. It wasn't sort of like she was just sad about that. And we got back home and she was like, yeah, I told you that, like, not for like that. Even her best friend didn't know that she does that or whatever, whatever. And I'm like, I didn't know. And I really felt bad. Then for me, it clicked in my head, like, in situations where you would have to defend your partner in public, even though she's wrong, I think it would be just right. Then between you and her, you can then be like, you know what, I had to do that. But right now, nah, this is not cool. I think that would be the angle
Exactly.
that I would take.
Yeah. And I know you're saying just right. For me, I would even say bare minimum because I would expect it as well. How we defend is different. If she's right, we're bringing the boys and the trucks, and we're like, huh? What's going
Yeah.
on here? But if she's wrong and we're defending, I'm like, yes, even if she's wrong, you can't talk to her like that. She's a human being. Respect. Yeah, let's respect each other. We'll
Oh,
figure
that's a
it out.
different case. Yeah, sure. If it's that situation, for
The
sure.
defense
Then
is
nah.
different.
Yeah.
The defense is different, but for me, it's bare minimum to defend my partner.
Yeah,
The
for sure.
defense
For
level is
sure.
just different.
Yeah.
The next one, getting matching tattoos after 1 month.
After 20 years, man, there's no way yeah, doing too much, man. Doing too
Doing
much.
too much, too. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Sending our mom birthday flowers.
Huh. Doing too much, bro.
Honestly,
Because
I will tell you this. If I know a mom and she's
yeah.
like, oh, I love those flowers. Yeah, it's doing too much actually. Because why am I saying, like, our husband should buy those flowers for her or our boyfriend or whatever? Like,
You
why
know why I thought about
am
it? It's
I?
like I know the kind of person I am. I'm not out there giving flowers to my partner like every other day. Some days they are important if I feel like, it's like I'm feeling good or whatever, or like there's a special occasion and so if I then go out of my way to do that for a mom, I'm setting like a precedence that I don't really want to start. Because then I feel like, yeah, that might then be this sort of jealousy or some sort of envy, like, oh, why, you don't even do this for me that
Yeah,
much or something like that. So that's why I wouldn't do it because yeah, I just want to stay safe.
yeah, it's a bit tricky as well.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking, let's say she even said these flowers I like. To then think that that's a birthday gift for her, that's also a bit tricky. Unless she really says, everyone, this is what I want for my birthday gift, and she has a birthday gift list, and then maybe I can do something like that. But honestly, just doing it out of nowhere, probably not. Quitting social media because your partner feels insecure.
You have to explain this. I'm not just going to answer this by
There's
just
so many
view.
there's so many
Because
girls on
nah.
the internet, like you
Yeah.
follow all these baddies, all these fitness baddies on Instagram, and I just don't trust that it's safe, so please delete Instagram for
Yeah, I
me.
think then I'm the problem. Seeking serious relationship out of people like that. It's then my own fault.
No, not so basically you have a lady, she's your girlfriend, and she's telling you, honestly, I'm just not comfortable on Instagram. You're a photographer and you have all these baddies that follows you. I don't know, it's just, it doesn't feel safe.
If I'm a photographer, that's a different then for me it's yeah, what would I call doing too much, man. Like if
Okay,
I
you're not
was
a
that,
photographer, but you are good on Instagram. Will you still delete your
I would just
Instagram
sum it
for
up,
her?
doing too much regardless of the situation. all context.
Now you get it, because honestly, like, I'm here with you every day, every time. I don't understand this, what's happening on the Instagram thing.
Yeah.
Texting her every hour just to check in.
Nah, doing too much, bro.
Yeah, I
She's
think the
gonna leave or cheat on
specificity,
you.
exactly, the specificity of every hour is a bit tricky. Don't you get busy yourself? You can be in a 2 hour lecture. You can be in, the specificity of
Yeah.
every hour. It's just not practical as well. So doing too much for me as well.
No girl wants that. They might tell you they do, but I can tell you, maybe not generalize, but most women don't want that. They get tired of it. It might be
Exactly.
nice at first, maybe for 1 year, even straight up 2 years, but yeah, constantly.
This one will surprise you. You get a personalized theme song for her from an artist. You actually walk up to the Fiverr artist or an artist that you know and you say, make a song for my babe.
Yeah, I feel like that's on a birthday or on a special occasion, that would be bare minimum.
Do you know what bare minimum means? Even if you do it on a birthday, that's a special shit.
That's expected, yeah.
Maybe it's not doing too much
Just right.
on a
How
birthday
you do
because you can make it special. But
Yeah.
on a normal day, what about the normal day?
I would say just right.
Okay,
Just
fair,
right. Because
fair.
it's not really expected, like, if you do it, it's like, okay, yeah. So what's the big deal? But like just right in
Yeah,
the
but
sense
if you
that
have
there
to
isn't this
choose only
pressure.
between doing too much and bare minimum,
Oh, it's definitely leaning towards doing too much, not bare minimum.
because it's definitely a lot, right? But
Yeah,
I'll
it is
take
a
your
lot.
just right. Yeah, I'll take your just right. I can see how it can happen. If I think it will make a girl my girl happy.
Exactly.
I can see how it can happen. Yeah,
Exactly.
so but it's definitely a special. You have your own
Yeah.
song now.
Yeah.
You're Superman.
I think if it's expected, that's the problem for me. I'm out.
That's
if
why
it's
it can
ex-
never be bare minimum.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Asking to move in just after 2 weeks of being in the relationship.
Jesus. Yeah, it's doing too much. Well, I mean, I've seen situations. Every situation is
My brain
unique
was-
in its own way.
2 weeks formalizing it. There's the
I-
after 2 weeks we were just sleeping. Oh, now she has slept at my place every night for the last 3 months. But there's the formalizing. Oh, I'm moving in. I'm packing my stuff in after 2 weeks.
The pause was the understanding that I had for the question, that I have for the question. It's like, I see you. I know why. Men, we are emotionally weak. Like, we feel, but the world wants us to believe that we are this robot or whatever. But when things just work like the way you expect it, a lot of men are, yeah, you
2 weeks.
you justify this, man, bro. For you. I
14
mean, I wouldn't
days
do it, but I know I
to
can be in a situation.
formalize. It's doing too much. It could
It's definitely doing too much because of the time. But you are not
Bro,
also putting into context.
I'm putting everything into context. Yeah.
No, okay, let me give you an
telling you.
example.
Give me the
Okay.
example. Yeah.
So we are students in Hohenheim, for example, same class, the same course, the same program. Bro, 24 hours could seem like a week just because of how your life is so integrated together.
I
that
feel you.
1 week
I feel
already, you already live in the same campus,
Bro,
close to each other.
I
It's
feel you.
convenient. So, bro,
Nope.
yeah, it could.
Still doing too much. Hey, let me tell you why. I think this is what you're not differentiating. There's a difference between let's have dinner. She slept day 1, day 2, day 3. In fact, I can do now we're in a
Okay, I see,
relationship
I
and
see.
she sleeps at
Yeah.
my place
Yeah,
every
yeah, that's
day
the difference.
from day
Yeah, but the
1.
formalizing, yeah. is
But
the
we
problem, yeah.
know that she has her own
Yeah.
house. Or
Yeah, for
even if
sure.
she brings some of her stuff, we know that she has only brought it temporarily.
I know what to. Okay, yeah.
There's
yeah.
the
That's fine.
formalizing part.
Yeah.
And that cannot be happening after.
Yeah,
2
that's
weeks.
definitely doing too much.
In
as
no
I've been saying.
scenario. Exactly.
Because the meaning
So
of that then
we
is,
can spend all the time together. This is
Yeah,
my
it's
house
like-
as well.
she doesn't now from this month forward, she's not paying for a house rent. Now she's living here. I think in 2
She
weeks,
lives
that's too
here.
much.
This is my
Yeah.
house.
Yeah. This
Even
is,
if she's not paying for a house rent, I thought the scenario that we wanted to give was, all right, you have all that time in Hohenheim, and then now you start to date, but 2 weeks after, you know how they always have asked us to find apartments after year 1 because you're doing a master's. So 2 weeks after, she has to find another
okay.
apartment, and she couldn't find one. So she's like, "Can I move my stuff into your basement for a while?"
That's
since
a
I spent
better
the night at
example,
your place?"
actually. Yeah.
Yes, but for me, I would still say we are looking for a place for you. So for now, your things are here. It's still temporary. It's not going to be, let me just move in. After 2 weeks, I'm not doing it.
Moving in is, because for me, I've never even done
Yeah.
this whole
Moving.
official moving
I've
in.
never,
It's like,
I've never done it as well.
yeah,
Never. I've never done it as well.
because it's a big step, actually. Yeah.
Too much. Your partner attends all your therapy sessions.
That's toxic relationship. Oh, knowing too much. I mean, it depends. Are we having a couples therapy? That's the question. If we are not having a couples therapy, if I'm having a personal thing that I'm going through,
Yeah, but this is your own therapy sessions. So if it's a couples therapy, it's the bare minimum. That's exactly what it's called. It's couples therapy. But your own therapy, and she's there to support you. And she's now coming through every time.
nah, that's too much. Doing too much.
I'm with you on that one too as well. This last one, I want to explain it properly. Basically, is it doing too much if, for example, in the context of male to female, it's a bit confusing, but let me try to explain it. That
Okay.
your girlfriend still respects and admire her ex so much that she will fly out just to fight with the new girl of her ex because the new girl is manipulating him or something. So she admires him so much that she now looks on Instagram and sees that the new girl that he's with has been assaulting him and messing around with him. But you know, a man cannot beat a woman, right? So basically, she's like, I'm flying out to that city because a woman can at least fight a woman.
She can have him. She can have him, movie. I'm not doing it again. Oh, what the is that, bro? Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, that was easy.
Too much,
that's
man.
absolutely
Too much, man.
way too much. But that was fun. That was fun.
Yeah.
Guys, which one surprised you? Yeah, drop your story below. Very curious to know. Very curious to know. Ibra, I think we're coming to the end of this episode. I hope they had a good time as well. From
sure.
trauma-driven hot takes, this episode went places.
If your man sings your mom flowers and gets a tattoo, maybe is the red flag.
Big time, big time. This is Think Talk, where chaos is the format and your opinions keep the fuel burning. Like, share, subscribe, and drop your take before someone misquotes you.